Welcome back everyone to another ESO video. Today is about the PTS for the new update for the Q1 for the Elder Scrolls Online. This is regarding the Sorcerer Shield alteration. Now this is not necessarily set in stone yet. This is the first take of it. It might change, it might not. But basically the Sorcerer Shield, for most of you, when it comes to Hardened Ward, know full well that this is scaled off of maximum Magicka, and this is to protect you as and when you need to. So the higher your Magicka, the stronger the shield, but it has a limit and your health determines that. So technically if you had a higher health bar, you could get a bigger shield, but you have to have the Magicka to promote it. That meant on a tank, especially if you are built for stamina usage for blocking and survivability alongside stam skills from your sword and board skill line, you'd probably have a fairly small magic bar. As you can see on this dude here, his magic bar is 12k, so not massive, but he's got high recovery. So you can utilize skills from that bar, recover nice and quick, and use them again over and over. But because the bar is small, the shield doesn't boost off of it, it doesn't scale off of it, so then it's somewhat ineffective. That also was a problem with stam DPSs as well. A mostly stam-built character would utilize stamina and weapon damage or spell damage, and the Magicka bar would also be quite small. While you don't really have too many magical skills that most people traditionally use on a stam Sorc, it meant that the bar is either dormant or used for maybe one or two skills occasionally. Again, with it being smaller, the damage shield was nowhere near as strong as it would be for a Magsorc. Magsorc were the ones that shined with this particular skill. Well, they've changed it so now that it makes sense for all styles. I'm going to show you two very clear demonstrations here. First of all, I'm going to start off with the Stam Sorc. So we're going to go into here, I'm going to activate this really random thrown together medium build, which doesn't really make or break the game. But as you can see here, being a Nord, we've got a little bit of extra health. If you were an Orc or an Imperial, you would as well. But on average, you're looking at about 24 to 25k health. This has got 26. But as you can see here, our Magicka is still low. It's only 13k. But what we can do is we can apply a damage shield. As you can see there, that covers a lot of my health. Why is that? Because they changed it. They've changed it to now give you a cap of 72% of your health, but it's boosted by your maximum Magicka amount or your maximum health. How does that benefit us on a Stam Sorc? Well, it's quite simple. Since they changed the game over time and we have higher flat stats now, health is not that difficult to stack. And while I have no health bonuses whatsoever, apart from one glyph on the shoulder piece, which is 400 or 500-ish, not even that, depending on your stats and bonuses that stack on top, this is 26k flat out. And if you had a Warden in your group, this Stam DPS is sitting on a whopping 28.7k. It's very easy for a DPS to pack anywhere between 23 to 28k health. With that in mind, this damage shield, scaling off of the highest of the two resources, Magicka or health being the one we've got more of, this now makes this a 15k damage shield for a Stam Sorc. Before, you would have had to use Bone Shield because it was the only viable option as a straight damage shield for a stamina user, but the problem is, being a stam user predominantly, you use that bar for heals, damage, blocking, dodging, breaking free, the lot. You don't want to overcomplicate that with more stuff, and then you've got another bar sitting there doing nothing. Now that Magicka bar can actually be made use of, yes, of course, you can build hybrids, been able to do it forever, but still, that can be made use of with an actual class skill, which is no longer tied to playstyle. It's only tied to the way you build that playstyle. So a Stam Sorc now has a 15k damage shield if you build like this. That, by the way, is 28k health. If you have 30k health because you've got Ebony in your group, shield goes up to about 16, 17k. If you've got 25k health, it's still a bigger shield than Bone Shield, and it doesn't nuke your stamina, so you can use that for all the shiny things. Now, tanks out there. If you are familiar with the channel, you may have seen the Bobby build. That is the best one-bar build yet, and then I shot myself in the foot and made more one-bar builds. But this particular build is designed to be very, very tanky, really tough. Has a lot of health. There's a lot of bonuses that really benefit you in a group towards your survivability and control, at the same time as supplying a massive amount of pen strip and debuffs. It's huge. But this, again, used to have one option because it was the only one we had in our arsenal, which was Bone Shield. Bone Shield is a good damage shield, covers a lot of your health, really, really helpful in fact, especially on this. It actually gives you a 23k damage shield, which is huge. But it costs stamina. So while blocking and inside mechanics and such, you do not recover stamina while blocking. So I would have to do this all the time. I'd have to heavy attack, bone shield, heavy attack, bone shield if I wanted to maintain it while keeping up with taunts, if I'm using the stam taunt, which I usually am, and also blocking at the same time. Bashing and all that stuff. You're draining stamina all the time and spending nearly 3.5 to 4k for one cast. That is useful and does work, but now with the Sorcerer shield change, this is a game changer. 21k there because we've lost some health. Look at this. If I put the Sorcerer shield on now, remember it scales off of my highest mag or health. I get a Warden buff in there as well. Sitting on 61k health. And a 32.9k damage shield, which, by the way, doesn't strip my stamina bar because it costs Magicka. And I'm built for high recovery, which means when I do use that, I'm going to take bugger all damage and I can use it as and when I please. That helps for sustainability on your main resource bar, your survivability for your health, and is absolutely bonkers. And if you want to see how that actually functions in content, we went into Vet Depths of Malatar, which lots of you know has some very hard-hitting enemies. The Watchers will hurt you, the bosses will hurt you. We ran through that dungeon on live stream, and I deliberately dropped my guard while maintaining the damage shield, and it tickled. So hopefully that helps you better understand the changes to the Sorc shield. As a Magicka DPS, if you have high health, obviously you've got a bigger shield. If you don't have a higher health bar, then depends on how you stack your Magicka. You may or may not see a difference. For a Stam Sorc, more than usable now. Very, very viable option. And for tanks, oh my word. And if you just watched a previous video about how taunts have changed with chains and all that kind of stuff, that and this shield combined makes this particular build absolutely mental. But your own Sorcerer builds actually save on ability slots because you don't need so many now. So, thank you very much for watching. I hugely appreciate support. If you are not subscribed on YouTube, obviously hit that button. It is free. And, of course, if you want to help support outside the channel, there are links for social media, for Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, the website, XynodeGaming.com, where all the ultimate guides are, not only for the zones, but also for builds and mechanics guides for dungeons, trials, and arenas. And, of course, you can support financially on Patreon, where we've got a private Discord server there for Patreons only. And you can join on YouTube, where you get nice perks for that, including emotes for the chat. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.